Hi, I'm Kiran Maistry. Welcome to Future of Our People. It's a series dedicated to leaders who are shaping the future of work. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Mr. Nikkhil Masurkar, the visionary CEO of ENTOD Pharmaceuticals, a leading name in the international pharmaceutical industry with a strong focus on ophthalmic, ENT, and dermatological treatments. Under Nikhil's leadership, ENTOD Pharmaceuticals has not only expanded its footprint to over 67 countries, but also reinforced its commitment to innovation with the state-of-the-art manufacturing and research facilities. Nikhil envisions transforming India into a global hub for pharmaceutical innovation over the next decade, moving beyond manufacturing to become a world leader in pharmaceutical research. Nikhil, it's an honor to have you with us today.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Kiran, for the very kind words, and thanks for inviting me to this podcast. Really looking forward to sharing some of my views and expertise with you and your audience.
It's all our pleasure, Nikhil, and I'm sure our viewers are very keen to hear from you as well. So let's jump right in. Many leaders speak about why behind what they do. Could you also share with us your core purpose that drives you and how you, being a pharmacist, became the CEO of ENTOD Pharmaceuticals?
I think if you ask why we are doing what we are today, it's mainly to create a center of pharmaceutical excellence from India. When we think about pharma these days, we talk about big pharma in the US, trying to create a big impact. But I think here in India, it's not that much about big pharma. It's more about what genuine impact you can create in the lives of our own people and in the lives of people all over the world. So I think having a more Dharmic approach to pharma from India creates much more opportunities to have a genuine impact on the health of our people. So as the CEO of ENTOD Pharmaceuticals, our vision has always been to kind of have a cost-effective solution to the health problems of our own people and to the health problems of the people of the world. It's been a privilege for me to be the CEO of this company, of this organization. This is the family business spanning over 47 years. And it hasn't been a selection by default. I've had to work my way up to reach this level. I had to study, I had to work in other organizations to get all the experience that I can, to the point where I felt that yes, I'm capable of doing it, and reached a stage where my family believed that I could do it. So it's a privilege and honor for me to be here, and we have a long way to go, and I'm really excited about the future of pharmaceuticals in India.
That's quite impressive, Nikhil, and especially when you said that, right, you have to work really very hard to become what you became today. And you also made a very interesting point in terms of India has been kind of innovation hub, mainly in the pharmaceutical research. Just for me and from a viewer standpoint, where are we? I know India is a big exporter of the standard volume-based medicines that we often talk about. But where are we in terms of from a research standpoint? Because what I like about is you as a leader and as an organization emphasizing more on innovation, right? You're literally bringing innovation. So just could you please give us some data points or talk us through around that?
So we always know that India has been the pharmacy of the world, like the pharmaceutical factory hub of the world.
Yes.
And then obviously we've had the Make in India campaign, and India has been one of the leading exporters of pharmaceuticals, of generic pharmaceutical products in the world. I believe almost 50% of generics in the US are made in India. And I think a large proportion of generic medicines all over the world are actually manufactured in India. So as a manufacturing pharmaceutical hub, we've already had that name. But for us, what was more exciting is to create an innovation hub in India. Okay. India should not only be the pharmacy of the world, but it should also be the research laboratory of the world, where a lot of new molecules, indigenous molecules, formulations are developed And then from here, it goes all over the world where we can out-license these innovations. All this time in India, we were used to getting molecules from the West, from the US, which are US FDA approved, bringing them to India, and then imagining and thinking that we've reached the world. Now the scene is changing. Now the whole idea is to develop these products, these molecules indigenously in India through proper clinical trials, and then kind of outsource it and out-license it rather to every corner of the world, including the regulated markets like the US. So I think this is where the pharma industry is going. There's been a lot of emphasis on genuine research. Since the pandemic, I would say, when we realized that we have to be self-sufficient when it comes to development of vaccines, development of newer antibiotics, development of newer therapies. There's been a whole shift, a mindset shift within the leaders of the pharma industry that they need to do genuine research and innovation if we have to transform our industry from what is currently a volume-driven industry to a more innovation and value-driven market. And that is happening now. If you see the kind of innovation and research that is happening in the industry, and the government also has been very kind enough to give a lot of support, including financial support for R&D projects as well, even to companies that are Indian born, not just the foreign MNCs, but the Indian MNCs and the medium to small scale pharmaceutical companies as well. So that is encouraging all of us to really put in our 100% in terms of developing innovative molecules for the global market.
For the global market. And it's a great transition, right, from the mindset that we used to carry earlier to the mindset now. It goes very well with our government policy of Make in India as well. Are there any particular strategies that ENTOD Pharmaceuticals are playing to ensure that what we are known earlier, right, India is being as the innovation hub, is kind of implementing and in contributing to this transformational mindset that we're talking, right? Are there any key strategies that you have adapted or you have in the pipeline we can look forward to in the future?
Yeah, so within ENTOD, we've created an ecosystem where researchers, doctors, and scientists can work together. Okay. And brainstorm on newer therapeutic ideas and then kind of take that research forward. I believe all this time we've had, on one hand, we've had the pharma industry, on the other hand, we've had the doctors, and then on the third hand, we've had the researchers. So I think now we're trying to, kind of get all of these three areas together under one platform in our company. And I think that has already led to a lot of interesting developments. So we have now, plans for indigenous formulations in ophthalmology and dermatology, which are not even thought of or dreamt of in the West, purely based on the therapeutic need and requirements for our patients here in India. And the plan is to put them under clinical trial, get them approved by the DCGI, and then commercialize it here in India, and then take it all over the world. So that innovation ecosystem is helping us to be bold in what we do. This wasn't happening in India previously, but it's not just us, but there's a lot of other companies who are now taking this step of innovation. And I, at least in the ophthalmic and the specialty sector, would like to kind of lead this change.
So it's very impressive. The first step in innovation is to create a new ecosystem, right, which was not done earlier, bringing everybody together and then moving forward. Thank you for sharing. And you also made a point, right? You have to work really hard to become what you became today as a CEO, right? How was the journey? More from a leadership standpoint, right? Because suddenly you were a pharmacist when you started, then you became a leader, because as a leader now you've got a huge workforce to manage, and especially now with the new ecosystems, then it's got different ways of thinking. How do you board these people acting as one, right? It's never easy. So how was your leadership journey?
It started. I was a research pharmacist in the UK. I studied my pharmacy at King's College, London. So in the UK, I was quite academically charged up. I had all the technical and research skills that I needed to excel in the industry. But I think my leadership journey actually started when I moved here to India, back to India. And it was mainly through observing my father, who's the chairman of the company, and how he really kind of showed leadership skills. And I think the philosophy of leadership for me and for my family is not about being a boss. It's about leading by example. It's about showing your people, what we can do together as one team. And motivating them, whether it's professional motivation or whether it's even motivation in their personal lives. Because I think our personal and professional lives are more or less one. I mean, I think people who try and segregate them, I don't quite see how that works. Bad day at home, you're going to have a bad day at work. It's as simple as that. And I think understanding that in our team has allowed us to be kind of empathetic leaders. So my leadership journey has been mainly, learning from my father, learning from my grandfather, who I had the privilege of spending a lot of time with when I first moved. He's unfortunately he's not around now. He passed away in 2013, but I learned a lot from him. And then obviously learning from other leaders in the industry here in India as well. And I've had the privilege of meeting quite a few. So I just take bits and pieces from everyone and try and see how I can adapt it to my organization. So I think leadership it's an adaptive thing. It kind of comes, as depending on the environment in which we kind of live and work in. So it's been a great experience, and I think every day I learn more and more. I learn a lot from my own team as well. And I think my leadership style it's more democratic rather than authoritative. Yes, sometimes you need to put your foot down when you want to get certain things done. But overall, it needs to be a more, democratic way of leading your team and motivating them through your philosophy, through your thoughts. I mean, even this podcast, I would love my team to watch this as well. And even if they get 5% motivation from this, I think the job's done. So my leadership journey has been about learning, adapting, and then motivating the people around me.
I'm a big fan of building an adaptive culture, and that all starts from the leadership. And as you rightly pointed, being democratic. And what I loved about is bringing that empathy on the table and leading by example. And it is translated into business results as well, in terms of steady growth that your organization had over the last few years.
Yes, I think there's a saying: if you look after your people, then the whole universe looks after you. So I think that's what's happened. I think in our company, we are fortunate enough to have a workforce that's been there for the longest possible time. We have loads of people in our company who've been there for more than 35 years as well. And I think that balance of youth and experience together kind of creates the right ecosystem, so that it's a bit like we're always in a corrective mode rather than going on the wrong path. And that's, I think, one of the reasons for whatever success we've got, is because we've had so many people in our team, in our we call it the ENTOD family, to correct us in our leadership as well. And I think that is very important. It's just like, they say, like, in a democracy, you have corrective measures that are always there in place so that the democracy functions. The same way in our company, we have enough people who are our well-wishers, who are good advisors. And we are also very open, very transparent in terms of how we run the organization. So I think all of that makes a big difference.
So is it fair to say these are the values of your organization as well? I think what you said, together as one team, being transparent.
Yeah, I think the values of our organization would be very family centric.
Family. Okay.
We would like to call ourselves, from the philosophy that we've kind of inherited and we're taking forward, a Dharmic MNC, where we have a Dharmic way of approaching our business, our people, our products, everything. And I think this has been started by my grandfather, who didn't want a very corporate structure. He wanted basically a whole group of people to be one family and do wonders for the country. And I think that is, I think we don't always have to emulate and follow the West. When we look at a very tight corporate structure in the US, it's not that we need to, do the same thing here in India. In India, we work very differently. We have different sensitivities, different things kind of get us excited than say people in the West. So the philosophy of business and working together in an organization should also be different. I think the more Indian we are in our thinking, in our culture, in our organizational culture, the more success we get in India. And we've seen really big US companies come to India and not been able to kind of make it here because they simply didn't understand the philosophy of business and the philosophy of the people. So I think this is where which is a strong point for us. I mean, we're also quite, we're quite aware of the fact that these aspects in our business are very important. And if we have to move forward, we'll have to, kind of take this philosophy with us for us to experience success.
That's quite pertinent. It also leads me to a question of culture as well, right? Culture plays a critical role in terms of not only impact your business results, but it's also bringing your employees together as one team and delivering those business results. I speak to many leaders myself, Nikhil, and I often see one of the challenge they often share is, when your grandfather started the family-owned business with certain purpose in mind, with certain values in mind, and it's easier, to maintain it when you're around 100 employees or 200 employees, but what the problem starts popping up is when you're especially internationally scaling the business, right? So I'm just wondering what has worked for you in terms of maintaining the same set of values that your organization has built and the culture as you scaled.
Yeah, I think, upscaling is one thing that depends on your ability to organize, to plan, to move forward in your plans. And maintaining your company philosophy and culture is a whole other, it's a different thing altogether. But I think if you need to upscale, one thing that you shouldn't compromise on, I feel, is your culture and philosophy. No matter how big we become in the future, we always want to be the same that we are today. The way we talk to our employees, the way we deal with them, the way we empathize with them, the way we motivate them shouldn't change. If that changes, then I would be worried. So I think it's your culture and philosophy that takes you forward. And even if you have to upscale to other countries, we have the same office environment in our London office that we have in the office here in Mumbai. It's the same thinking, the same feeling, the same way of management, because I feel that the Indian way of management works. It works even on people in the West, if you ask me. Not that we're trying to impose a different management style on them, but if you, at the end of the day, if you understand somebody, their situation, and you know how to motivate them from a family perspective, and you think of them as their own, I don't think anyone in the world would kind of object to that style of management. I think everyone needs a more empathetic way of being managed. And in this day and age, you cannot force your opinions and thoughts, and you can't force your employees to do certain things, or afford to be rude with them or unfair with them. I think there was a previous generation of employees who were okay with that, but the younger generation of employees, they want somebody to be at the same level as them and not above them. And I think that's very important. Yes, they would have respect for you as the CEO or as their boss or whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, I think they want to be seen at the same level as you. And for me, it's about trying to get at, kind of be as grounded and low profile as possible, so that I can connect with them and together we can achieve something.
I mean, it's clearly visible how passionate you are for your people, and you made a good point in terms of connecting with the people, right? Connections. And what kind of aspirations you have when it comes to future for your people?
When it comes to our people, I mean, obviously, we've had a lot of our workforce who started with us at a very early stage in their professional careers, and today they've really blossomed into well-groomed professionals. And I think that professional development aspect of things is something very important for me. I don't want to be seen as a CEO who gives jobs. I'd rather be seen as a CEO who gives a whole career, to our people. So, I don't like the word job. I think the word job is a bit it's a bit too objective. I think the word career and maybe life and what you would do in this life is more important. So the aspirations for my people is obviously that I want them all to, grow professionally, but also at the same time, be very happy with what they do. I think happiness in business, happiness in your workplace, happiness in your professional growth is, I think, the key. And that happiness translates to their personal happiness as well. So every time when we, try and manage our team, we don't just ask them about what their sale was or how they're doing. And the first thing we ask them is, how are things at home? How are things, are you happy? Is there any problems? And I think when you approach it that way, then you know that you're on the right track with them, because that's what everyone wants to hear. The people want their line manager or their boss to ask them, did you sleep well last night? Do you have any stress? Do you have any tension? Are you happy? And people have all kinds of problems. And if you even deal with something, very small, like for example, someone's unhappy with their health or their weight or they have relationship issues at home or whatever it could be, at the end of the day, it's like, if you understand that, then you're on the same journey with them and you can, kind of move forward. So I would prefer that all my, Entodian family members are very happy working in the organization and they live a very happy, healthy and fruitful life.
Very interesting. And I love the way, again, you change the word from doing the job versus to career, right? When you enter a company, you're building a career. And in fact, in India, almost 73% of employees are disengaged or actively disengaged, Nikhil. And one of the top reasons comes from lack of clarity, meaning, or direction, right? And you hit the nail in terms of the way you approach it, right? In terms of you give a clarity of purpose into your job when you are not just doing the job, right? Doing the job is achieving the result and also building your career within that company as well. And it's clearly evident, you said your employees have been with you in the journey for more than 35 years, more than you took the leadership role. What do you think, what are the key leadership traits one need to have in the current era? Any advice on that?
I think from my experience and from having learned from others, I think the biggest leadership quality would be to wake up every morning and think that you start from zero. I think that allows you to reflect on on a lot of things, and it allows you to basically take each day as it comes. Because in leadership you have daily challenges, and there may be different challenges every day. And if you kind of wake up in the morning and kind of think that, this is what you've achieved, this is what you've done, then you could get complacent in handling the challenges that come on that day or the next day. So that's one leadership trait, quality that I feel is important. The other thing is to, as I've mentioned before, is to understand your people, and make them believe in your vision. If your people don't believe in your vision, then you will struggle in leadership. You may be a great manager, but you may be a poor leader because your people simply haven't understood your mission in life, in your business. Like what you said, a lot of the workforce are disengaged. They need to be engaged with your vision, with your mission, and they need to be as passionate as you are in your vision when they wake up every morning. And even if I can have that in 50% of my workforce, I think that's a great achievement that would be possible. So I think just those two leadership skills, everything else comes by default. You get through experience. It's not, there's no kind of owner's kind of manual on leadership. It happens once you're in a situation. But I think what really forms your leadership qualities is your values, your belief systems, your philosophy, the culture, what you inherit, and how you can take it further. I think that's what shapes up your leadership skills moving forward.
It's great. And it's all about connecting one's job to a bigger purpose. As you rightly pointed, when you start sharing, you're communicating the why part, then when your employees start seeing that, and that's where they become engaged, right? They got and it's also a motivator for them to come and do the job. Could you share a habit or a personal practice that you maintain that helps you to stay focused and be effective in your role as a CEO?
I mean, I'm so busy every day with so many things happening. My focus is just on my mission, on what I need to achieve, and the way I do it, it's just kind of making sure that there are as less distractions as possible in that process. And I think what I practice every day, I think, if anything, is just gratitude, and I think, I don't get much time for prayers, for, religious activities and all of that, because I'm so busy in my work. But I think what I do every day without fail in the morning is just have a prayer of gratitude to thank the Almighty, thank the universe for whatever has come my way. And I think if you show gratitude, even like 10 seconds of gratitude every day, I think a lot comes your way. Things happen, and all the efforts that you take for whatever actually start creating results that you want. So I think that's the only thing that I actively practice. And apart from that, I think just try and control the distractions around you. Try and realize and kind of get back in line every day as to what your mission is, what your purpose is in this business. I mean, I'm from, this is a family business. So I think a lot of what I am and where I am now is because of karma, So I always look at it that there is a karmic responsibility here, why I'm here. And if I even make my people understand this concept, or make them realize why I'm here and why I'm doing things, and what legacy I'm trying to take forward, then I think business automatically becomes successful. In fact, it's no longer about making the business successful. That happens by default. It's about making sure that your mission, your vision kind of are realized.
Mission. And so it's a great learning for me as well, in terms of the best way to avoid distraction is stick back, go back to your vision, go back to your mission that you have in purpose, right? Because we all are dealing with countless demands on our time. The best way is to go back to what you need to achieve so you can avoid the distractions. So finally, what advice you would give to younger version of yourself if you had to give any advice?
I think the first advice I would give to our youth is to first realize what your mission and purpose is, because you don't want to kind of go into the wrong path and kind of do certain things and then realize, well, this is not for me. But take your time to realize what your mission is. I only realized what my mission was after I crossed 30 years of age. Before that, it was just a learning phase. I was figuring out what I'm good at, not really sure. I was all over the place. It's only when I crossed 30, I realized, well, I think this is what I really am born for. This is what I'm meant to be doing. So there's no rush. I would advise a youth not to rush into things. Take your time, have the right academics in place. Make sure you train, make sure you get all the skills that you feel will benefit you in the future. And then the second thing I would advise the youth is to be as pro-India as possible. I think if there's anything that can motivate us in the next 10 years, and I'm talking about the youth of our country, is to be as a pro-nation as possible. And I think nation is a very strong idea that needs to be utilized in the right way for our youth. Yes, if there's a lot of youth who want to go abroad to study, like myself. You can go abroad, you can study, you can get the right skills, expertise, you can work for a few years, but then I would encourage them to come back to your country, because this is where it's all about, and actually, if you look at the business environment in the world today, I think the most exciting place is India, and it's going to continue for the next 15, 20 years plus. So focus on India, don't leave your home and go abroad, but make sure you come back on time so that you can serve your country and do something great for our country.
It's amazing, and I could resonate each and every word with you, Nikhil. And being that I truly believe that India will be a global major economic country in the coming years. We already are, but we will reach the $10 trillion economy as well. And also having that clarity in terms of your purpose, as you rightly pointed, right? Getting that clarity, more often or not, we rush it, but just getting that clarity in terms of who you are and what you want to do, then you can, then you put the right skill sets or equip. It's all about that continuous learning and development, right? So brilliant. Thank you, Nikhil. It's been a very enriching conversations. We touched on right from your company in terms of what you do, to the leadership aspects, to the culture, and to your workforce. What are your future aspirations? Where do you see yourself or your organizations in the next 5 years?
Yeah, without a doubt, I want to see my organization being the number one pharmaceutical company in the ophthalmic, ENT, and dermatology segment, and to reach out to every corner of the world where the usual foreign MNCs haven't reached out to. So it's not just about catering to the European markets or the American markets, but also to cater to the countries of the global south, who are usually ignored when it comes to healthcare and new molecules. So we have a worldwide mission. India is obviously the main kind of area for us, but beyond that, we want to spread good Indian pharma practice all over the world. And we want our cost-effective medicines to reach every corner of the world, irrespective of your ability, whether your affordability for medicine. So we want to have products and medicines for people who cannot afford medicines, and also for those who can. So we want to reach out to every spectrum of the society when it comes to medicine, because when it comes to diseases, unfortunately, there's no bias. In terms of no social bias. So everyone is affected by most diseases that we know of today. So that is what the mission of the company is, and that's what we strive every day.
It's all about making that difference, right? And making India proud. Once again,
it's about in the US there's a concept of big pharma, as I said at the start of this interview. I think we would prefer to be the small pharma that creates a big impact. I think we prefer to be small. I think small is good, small is impactful. And I think that is what we want to do all over the world.
And I really wish you for all your future endeavors, Nikhil. And it's great to be associated with you. It's great to even have this discussion with you in terms of how, with clarity of mind, you have in terms of your purpose, in terms of how you want to take your organization forward, or about the passion that you have for the people. It's clearly visible, and I don't see any reasons why you would be the number one, right? Not necessarily in terms of scale, but in terms of the impact. So I really wish you and thank you for taking your time to talk to me.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mr. Kiran. It's a privilege to be on your podcast, and I wish you all the best as well, and thanks for your kind words towards me and our organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you.